Hello students, today we are going to study what is the basic difference between the void agreement and void contract because this question is very important from examination point of view. Now let us start the video and discuss what are the various points of difference between void agreement and void contract. The first difference of void agreement and void contract is of meaning. In simple terms, I want to say that those agreements which cannot be enforceable by the law are called void agreement, whereas those contract which was initially valid but due to the change of circumstances it becomes void are called void contract. Now let us discuss the definition of void agreement and void contract. An agreement which is not enforceable by law is said to be void agreement. Section 2 clause G discuss void agreement, whereas a contract which ceases to be enforceable, I repeat, a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void when it ceases to be enforceable. Section 2 clause J define void contract. Let us differentiate void agreement and void contract by an example. A supplies the luxury goods to B, who is a minor, for a consideration of rupees 1,50,000. Okay, so what A is doing? He is making the agreement with the B, who is minor, and for the supply of the luxury goods. Okay, this agreement cannot be made because an agreement with the minor is void ab initio. Now let us discuss what B has done. B refused to make payment. B is saying that I do not want to make payment. Now, in this case, A cannot enforce the agreement in the court. Since the agreement with the minor is void ab initio. Ab initio means from the very beginning, the agreement with the minor is void, it cannot be enforceable in the court of law. Okay, let us take the example of void contract. A agrees to sell his horse to B for rupees 70,000. Okay, but the horse died in an accident. Okay, after agreement and before the performance of the contract, the horse died. Initially, the agreement of A with B was valid. Okay, but due to the death of the horse, it becomes impossible to perform the contract due to the destruction of the subject. Thus, a valid contract changes into a void contract because of subsequent impossibility of performance. And what are the various reasons why an agreement becomes void? Agreement becomes void if any of the essential laid down in section number 10 other than free consent are missing. Okay, if any of the requirement which is mentioned in section number 10 other than free consent is missing, the agreement becomes void. Whereas if other conditions are there but there is no free consent, then the agreement becomes the voidable contract. So an agreement will become void if any of the essential laid down in section number 10 of the act has not been fulfilled other than the free consent. Whereas a void contract becomes void because of subsequent impossibility or illegality. Okay, and what is the timing? Void agreement is void ab initio. That means from the very beginning void agreement are void, it cannot be enforceable in the court of law. Whereas void contract were not void in the initial stage, it becomes void subsequently due to certain reasons. That they may be the change of the circumstances, subsequent impossibility to perform, subsequent illegality to the performance. So it becomes void subsequently due to certain reasons. And what will be the consequence? The party who has received any benefit under the void agreement may or may not be under obligation to restore the benefit to the party from whom it is received. For example, if minor has received any type of benefit from a major person, he may or may not under obligation to restore the debt benefit to the major, because the void agreement from the very initial stage are not enforceable in the court of law, whereas void contract were valid contract when it was made. And if any party had received any type of benefit, that benefit should be restored by him to the other party from whom that benefit had been received. Okay, the party who has received any benefit under the void contract is liable to restore the benefit to the party from whom it is received. Thank you. This is something for of difference between void agreement and void contract. Thank you very much.